Hi, everyone, and welcome again to today's podcast. And I'm going to be sharing with you top 7 dangerous stress management habits that you need to leave behind. So, as you're stepping into whether it's your birthday, into the new year, like 2024, which is as at the time I'm recording this, or you're stepping into a new season of your life, these are stress management habits you really need to leave behind. Now you're wondering, why should you listen to me now? See, if you are doing the wrong things when it comes to managing your stress, there are different things at risk. One of them is that your health will suffer. In the last episode, I talked about things to do to prevent your body from shutting down. So if you are doing the wrong things, your health will suffer. I've seen people that come to the hospital for certain illnesses. They keep coming over and over, and then you keep investigating and realizing that there is no organic cause of what's going on with them. Until you dig deeper, you realize that there are certain stressors in the background that hasn't been sorted. Imagine all the time you're spending visiting the hospital all the time to find answers, or the money you're spending in hospital bills for those that live in places where they pay their hospital bills themselves. So why not do things that will prevent you from getting there? And then the second thing is that you will lose productive hours. If you're stressed out and you get so worried that you're not sure of how to come out of that stress, you find yourself dwelling on that certain stressor, and before you know it, time is going. For instance, if you're someone that needs to show up to the audience consistently, you realize that you're not even the best frame of mind to carry out your job as an employed person or as an employer. You may find out you're making mistakes, doing the wrong thing. You're spending more time correcting errors. So your productivity will suffer and your performance will suffer. Before you know it, people around you will start noticing and they'll question your competence, and you may be at risk of losing your job. Now, the third thing is your income. If you're living in, like, for instance, here in the UK, there are some people that are earning hourly. That time is money. So if you're not well enough to invest the time to make the money, you're going to lose out on money. Okay, so you should avoid these stress management habits that I'm going to be sharing shortly. And then the final thing you may be at risk of is losing valuable relationships. Let me tell you what happened yesterday. So there is this my colleague, a fellow Nigerian, my lovely lady. I told her that why is she not sharing my podcast to her contacts, her friends? And then someone else heard about it. I was like, oh, you have a podcast. Is it like a positivity podcast? What is it about? And then this, my friend, started telling her about a podcast that is about helping people manage their stress. And then the conversation started, and we talked about people that come off as toxic people. Sometimes it's not that they are deliberately toxic. It could be poor stress responses. One of the things that happen when people are stressed is that they become irritable. They want to speak out angrily. Sometimes they say things they regret. They say things they shouldn't have said. They now struggle to rebuild the relationship. So if you're that kind of work colleague, you realize that people start withdrawing from you. Like, nobody wants negative vibes around them. Nobody wants somebody that makes them not feel valued in the work. Before you know, people are avoiding you, and they are now side talks. Oh, that person is toxic. Oh no, I don't like how they behave. So these things at the root cause could be stress, probably stress at home, or financial stress, or just any form of stress. But if you're able to manage your stress adequately and avoiding the wrong stress management habits, then to an extent, you're going to have great relationship with people that are really important to you, your spouse, your children. Your children will not see you as that angry mom or dad. Your relationship with your work colleagues, or just people that really matter to you, and even the world at large. Now you've understood why you should listen to me. Let's quickly dive into the topic, which is 7 dangerous stress management habits to leave behind right now as you're listening to me. Now, the first one, which is the most obvious. Okay, well, I call it the most obvious because if you listen to my previous episode, then you know that this is going to come up again. And that is ignoring your body. Hey, stop there. From now henceforth, please stop ignoring the signs your body is telling you. Your body is communicating. Okay, I can agree with you that sometimes you're not able to interpret exactly what your body is communicating, but I'll tell you that once you notice something unusual, that you are not exactly sure what it is, especially when it has to do with physical symptoms, please get checked in the hospital. I'm a medical doctor. We are trained to ask certain questions. We are trained to look out for certain things. For instance, if you wake up in the morning or you're going about your day and then you start feeling lightheaded and you pass out and it happens again, the best thing for you is to come to the hospital. I know there's this usual practice that when somebody faints, you pour water on the person and then the person recovers and carry on with their day. That's not the best practice. The best practice is coming to the hospital. We need to ask you certain questions. What happened before you passed out? What did the eyewitnesses say that happened when you passed out? How long was it for? What happened afterwards? What's your medical background like? Is there history of sudden death in the family? We want to know why you passed out. Could it have been just a simple faint, or do we want to know if it's something related to your brain or something that is related to your heart? Okay, because we don't want the next story to be, oh, they slept, they didn't wake up. God forbid. So if you notice an unusual symptoms, do not ignore it. Please get checked. If it's something that has to do with you're struggling to manage your anger when you're stressed, you know the right people to speak to. Okay, speak to a professional, speak to a coach to help you address the root cause so that you be your better self, because that is the goal in life. We want to be better people every single day. Now, the second habit you must leave behind is working hard to make ends meet, forgetting to take care of yourself, and forgetting to drink water. Now, I'm not going to blame you for choosing to be responsible. Every one of us that chose to be responsible also chose the stress that is associated with it. For instance, you chose to have children. There is this stress that comes with parenting that if you don't know how to handle it, it may overwhelm you. Now, you chose to be responsible, or by getting a job. So you're no longer under your parents' care. So that means you need to cope with the work-related stress or pressure that comes with it. You chose to climb higher or get promoted to become the manager. You're now responsible for more people to get things done, like to get things working smoothly in the company. That means you have to also be ready for the stress that is associated with it. So what I'm trying to say is that nobody is blaming you for choosing the life you've chosen. You chose it to make impact to your world, to make impact, to grow, to improve improve on yourself, and to do wonderful things. At the same time, don't get carried away in that path. Remember yourself. You need to function effectively. For instance, I came across the post of one pastor I've been following for a while on social media. I realized that he's always preaching back to back, like there's something new every time. And then I saw his social media post and he said, I am taking a rest. Which is okay, which is very, very okay. There is an audience you have to serve, all right? So for you to show up consistently to serve that audience, regardless of the job you do, for you to show up consistently, you need to be sane physically, mentally, to perform at optimal productivity, which is what every workplace wants of their employees. So you have to be intentional in taking care of yourself, taking your rest days, taking your break periods, drinking your water to stay hydrated. So this is intentionally taking care of yourself so that you don't get carried away in doing all this stuff, striving to get those promotions without taking any breaks, and then all of a sudden you can't function anymore because you've burnt out or you're now admitted into the hospital. Nobody wants that, do you? Of course not. And now the third habit you should leave behind is smoking. I know that this one is a very common one. You've heard it everywhere that smoking is dangerous, smoking is bad. Before I go into more about smoking, I was in the flight one day and I sat with a very prominent man in Nigeria. And when I was speaking to this man, he told me that he didn't smoke before. How did you start smoking? He said, I get stressed at work, and then myself and my colleague, we go out. And when we go out, we try to do things that make us happy. We go partying and then we start smoking. Okay. So smoking was something they collectively did to cope with their stress. All right. And then he realized that even when they are not stressed, they are still, they are still smoking. And that was how the addiction started. All right. So it's even best you don't start. It's best you don't engage in these unhealthy habits, because once you start, it may be difficult to stop. So smoking is one thing that, oh my God, it's not just bad for managing stress, it's just bad for your health. I've seen people come down with lung issues, lung cancers, as in serious health conditions, people that need oxygen at home. I mean, artificial oxygen to sustain them at home, to keep their lungs going, Like, I've not seen anything good associated with smoking. So if you're listening to me and you've thought about quitting, now this is your sign that it's time to let go. Okay? Now, I'll go to the next one, the fourth stress management habits you need to quit, you need to leave behind, which is bearing grudges. You may be among those that are in this category. And these are people that there is an issue, they have an issue with someone or their workplace or anything at all. Now, instead of addressing that issue as quickly as it happened or when they are calmer, they ignore it in the name of, let peace reign. In the process of letting peace reign, they haven't forgotten, they haven't forgiven. So they're bearing the grudge in their hearts, and it's reflecting in their mood. They're becoming moody. It's reflecting in their attitude. They are giving attitude. They are giving up this negative vibe that there is problem somewhere. Now, they don't address the issue. And then another thing happens again. Okay, let me give an instance. People, let me say you and your work colleague, you had the issue the first time. You didn't address it, and you just carried the apple in your heart and continued your matter. It happened again. You didn't address it. You carried the apple in your mind and just continued going in the name of, I don't want wahala, let peace just reign. But you haven't forgotten, you haven't forgiven. It happened the third time, and out of nowhere, you blotted out and screamed and shouted at the person. What do you think would be the person's response? They'll be like, is everything all right with you? Like, they'll be like, is it just this small thing that happened that is making you react like this? So it's not like you're reacting beyond the matter that happened. And before you know it, you're now talking about things that happened in the past, bringing up past issues. Oh my God. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes when you're having an issue with somebody, you're trying to address a situation, and the person is digging up things that happened as far back as 1950. What happened to addressing issues as quickly as they happen so that everybody can move on, feel lighter, and live peaceably as much as possible? So in your next season, as you're listening to me now, start resolving to address issues as quickly as they happen. Because number one, it's going to be a heavy load for you to carry. And then when you see the person, your mind will skip a bit. You don't have peace of mind, and when you're sleeping and probably you dream of the person, you wake up panting, or you are in a discussion and then somebody mentions the person's name, your heart just skips. Wow. Why will you choose that kind of life for yourself? Why not just free yourself? And then number two, you're setting yourself up to be seen as somebody that is crazy. Resolve to not be bearing grudges, but addressing issues as quickly as they happen. If you're not sure of how to address the issues, just chill till you're much calmer, or even get somebody that you respect and talk to the person. And sometimes when you're talking to people, you find solutions. It's more like a reflection, and when they also hear from you, they are able to give you constructive feedback, and be open to it. Okay? Because we tend to feel that we are right all the time. For instance, something happened in my workplace and I wanted to escalate it. But I said, okay, no, talk to somebody first. And when I spoke to somebody, she made me understand the loopholes, my own lapses, And I was like, oh, okay, I was wrong in this. At the same time, I didn't like the way I was spoken to. And I didn't escalate the matter. I met the person the next minute and we were talking like nothing happened. She was more respectful. It was more like two people that have done the reflections and they've come to the realization that there are better ways to communicate. Okay, so it makes for a healthy workplace and not a toxic place. Now, the fifth one, which is eating excessive processed foods to bring you comfort. Why am I bringing this up? There is obesity pandemic. There is obesity pandemic. And what I mean by processed foods is that foods that are no longer in their natural states. They have gone through lots of steps, lots of series. Like you see the ice cream, like you see the biscuits, they've been processed to this one to get it to this stage. It's where it now becomes a fast food. You just munch on and go about your day, and lots of sugars in them. Now, the interesting thing is that when you're stressed, that is when your brain is craving some comfort foods. It's more like, I have worked so hard, I need my reward right now, and I need that reward to make me feel good, and I'm just going to get that reward from things like chocolates, from things like a fast food, as in just give it to me right now. Now, the irony is that when you're stressed, what you're craving is not actually what your body needs. When you're stressed, your body has depleted in essential nutrients, what we call the antioxidants that you can get in vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E. Your body is actually craving to replenish these nutrients. That is why you can never go wrong with your vegetables, and you can't go wrong with your fruits. Okay, so when you're stressed, feed the body what it really needs, not what your brain is asking you to feed it with. Moving forward, rather than feeding your body with those processed foods, those chocolates, and then you start wondering, hey, I'm getting fat, I'm so stressed, yet I'm not losing weight. What are you eating? What are you comforting yourself with? So this habit needs to be done with. You have to tell it bye-bye, bye-bye. And then if you're working in a high stressful environment, one thing you can do is come with your own foods. Come with your own food. If not, you'll be using Coke, chocolates, and all this sugary stuff to carry on with the day. And before you know it, you're getting these fat deposits at your belly, lower down your belly. And then you're wondering, oh, why am I not losing this fat? Why am I not losing this fat? Is what you're eating. And the cycle continues. You get stressed that you're gaining weight, and then you eat more comfort foods, and the cycle continues. And you're wondering, exercising, I've joined the weight loss group, and I'm not losing any weight. Are you managing your stress the right way? That's the question. You may not like this one. Go and grab carrots and eat. Go and grab apples. Go and grab other stuff that are healthy, especially if you're someone that is really, really intentional about your weight. So we have 2 more to go. Yeah! I'm going to leave the best for the last. Don't stop listening to the podcast at this moment. Now, the 6th one is drinking to cope. This one is so common. So common. You're stressed out. Next thing, you're going to the nearest pub. You're getting drinks. You're buying alcohol. You want to drink. You want to feel better. The stress doesn't go away. You just feel kind of detached at the moment. And then when the alcohol wears off, your stress comes back to you. What you're just doing is you're just handling the stress the right way. You're just delaying it. Alcohol, it's been shown that alcohol will actually worsen your anxiety. And I'm not even talking about the health implications that is associated with alcohol. You see people that have come down with liver diseases, people that are suicidal, having anxiety, really bad depression, and you see that they are alcohol dependent, and you're wondering why. And they tell you, oh, I started drinking because of what happened. There's usually a reason. There's usually an event that triggered such habits. And when you dig deeper, it's always a stressful event. Okay? So don't even get onto that part of using alcohol as a stress management strategy. It is not helpful. It does not manage your stress. It may detach you for a while, but that is not the solution, because once the feeling wears off, what next? You want to top up, right? You want to top up more and more. Before you know it, you're alcohol dependent. You're drinking more than required. And you're now exposing your liver to serious illnesses. You just don't want to have it, because it has other complications associated with them. All right? So don't even get onto that part. You just set yourself up for mental health damage and also physical health damage. So if you must drink, let it just be something you drink because you want to, not because you want to use it to cope with a stressful situation, because it's just one way to set you up for addiction. Okay, now the last one which I preserved for you is dwelling so much on rejections and failures. You see this particular one, you're going to leave it behind. Let me share this story with you. Sometime this year, 2023, I think around May or thereabout, my car was stolen from my driveway in broad daylight. That's strange. So, what that meant, I'm not going to dwell on what exactly happened, because I think I've shared more about it in one of the episodes, but I'm going to tell you the aftermath of that event. And that car was an automatic car. And the interesting thing is that I needed a car urgently to continue with my work, because my workplace is a bit far and it didn't have a good transport system. Sometimes you're spending 1 hour on the road by bus. Not just the 1 hour. Sometimes you miss the bus and you eventually take Uber, because there is no bus available for you to take you to work at that particular time. So it was really, really inconveniencing. Okay, we needed an urgent car. And here in the UK, the manual cars are usually cheaper. My brother called me. My brother went with my husband to go and look for car. So next thing, I got a call from my brother talking to me about the option of driving manual. I told him, no, I'm not interested. I'm one of those people that said I will never have any business to do with manual cars in this life. So he convinced me for some reason. Okay, his words were, you don't limit yourself. Do not limit yourself. When he was saying that, I remember the women in my life that also drive, and my mother as well, that drive manual cars. I was like, okay, bring the manual car, I'll do it. They bought the car, and the first few days practicing on the road, I gave up. I was encouraged to keep trying. Okay, I continued to try. To a point, I gave up completely and said, I'm no longer driving again until I see an automatic car. I'll continue to use the bus to go to work. Until one day, I went to work, and for me to come back, the sun was so much that day. I waited. I finished work at 4 o'clock. So I waited and waited for at least about 30 minutes to 1 hour for the bus to arrive. The bus arrived. That's after the sun has already dealt with me. I got in. Along the way, it turned out that the bus couldn't continue the journey. I don't know what happened, but they said everybody should come down, that the bus can't continue the journey. We got down in the sun again, waiting. Fortunately, another bus came around and I joined it, thinking it would take me to the city I was going to. Yeah, it took me there, but I was wishing it would take me to somewhere closer to my house so that I can get down. The bus continued going farther away from my house, so I had to stop. I was now looking for bus to go home. Do you know, after everything, I had to use Uber to go home. Like, I still spent that money on Uber. I was so frustrated that day. I finished work at 4 o'clock and I got home at about 6:30. So it was really frustrating. 2 hours, 30 minutes on the road. And I said to myself, this is not going to happen again. And what that meant is that I'm going to learn how to drive that manual car. So I went to bed that day, woke up at about 3 a.m., came on YouTube. I started watching how to drive manual cars on YouTube. After watching, at about 4 o'clock, when it was a bit brighter, I hit the road with the car. And I drove. I was more confident. with the things I've learned. So I was more confident. And that was how I started driving the car. Interestingly, I got a license to drive manual cars. So from I can't do it to don't limit yourself to now an expert in driving manual cars. So what I'm trying to share with you here is don't dwell so much on rejections and failures. So there I had issues with cars. Number one, the car was stolen. Number two, a manual car was brought my way. Number three, I gave up quickly that I'm not interested. I was so frustrated in driving. But I pushed on, which eventually made me to start driving manual. So what I'm trying to say is this: when things happen, don't be quick to give up, okay? And don't be quick to dwell so much on it and worry so much about it and cry so much about it that you don't recover from it. It can be in form of heartbreak, a breakup. It can be rejection email from that job you wanted. You've got several of them. You've got several heartbreak messages. You've got several failed attempts at exams. It's okay to cry. Cry. Feel bad about it, but don't dwell on it. Start thinking of the next step forward. Whether it means learning, whether it means improving your skill, your knowledge, whether it means building yourself even more, whether it means using it as an opportunity to see other things. Okay, so look for the positive in that situation and move on. Even if you don't find, cry, that's all right. But dust yourself and move on. There is more ahead in life. There are more beautiful things awaiting for you on the other side of that rejection. Trust me, that does not define your entire being. That does not define your entire existence. Life is more beautiful on the other side. So long as you don't give up, so long as you don't dwell so much on the negative that has happened. And another thing is that if you continue to dwell so much on the negatives, on the failures, on the rejections, on the things that are not working out, you find yourself diving deep into more negative thoughts, negative outcomes, more negatives to the point that you may even set up yourself for depression. And next thing you're thinking about, life is not worth living. You're thinking about suicide. I don't want you to get there. So moving forward, quit this dangerous stress management habit of dwelling so much on the negatives when stressful events happens. Okay, start thinking of what's the next step forward. You've got this. Everything is gonna be all right, and you yes, you will still come back to testify. All right, so I'm rooting for you, and thank you so much for joining me. Please share this with your work colleagues, because if you manage your stress properly and then your work colleague is now the source of your stress, now what's the aim? What's the benefit? So share with them, let them also learn and also manage their stress the right way. Okay. And I'll appreciate your feedback. I'll appreciate your review. Thank you so much for joining me to the end of this episode, and see you again. Bye-bye.